Hello and welcome to another plague-filled episode of a weekly deathmatch. First of all, a bit of housekeeping. This first match is Momentum Control. It is an experimental game type by Bungie, which is basically similar to SWAT and Halo from what I can tell, where well, it says all guns are lethal, but that's not strictly true, because you can one-shot people with a headshot with a Jade Rabbit, but you can't like one-shot people with like a body shot with a Jade Rabbit or like with an auto rifle. It just means guns are way more deadly. And I've been enjoying this mode, but PSA, these two games that I've recorded suck. Also, the second one is a Rumble. I was trying to even out the time because this one took like 6 or 8 minutes. Yeah, it took like 5 minutes, and then the other one took like... Oh, it took longer. Okay, I don't know. I'm El, so I don't know what I'm talking about. So now is a perfectly good time to discuss BlizzCon and navigate the mires of ethical consumption. Because, first of all, CEO came out, did an apology, seemed emotional. I'm glad he did it. I think it would have been a much bigger deal if he hadn't done it. But the internet loves outrage, and they are all very angry that he did it. Like, how dare he apologise and all of that stuff. And it was totally hollow, and it didn't feel hollow to me, but maybe I'm just a bad judge of people. But also I realise that the internet is not a very empathetic place. But also I realise that this is a very complicated issue, and also that the apology doesn't fucking magically make everything better. So I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I just want to talk about some awesome video games. And some awesome video games were definitely unveiled. Diablo 4, first of all. Fuck yeah, Diablo 4 looks amazing. I've been watching the panels and stuff, and from what I can tell, they really are building this game based on what people want from Diablo. Like, it's like basically a combination of like the theme and the world from Diablo 1 and 2, with like how dark it is, how gory and gothic and all of that it is. But like the gameplay of Diablo 3, which was really fun. And I've only played Diablo 3, I've never played Diablo 1 or 2, and there were a lot of rumours that they were going to remaster Diablo 2, which actually turned out to be wrong. But if they did remaster Diablo 2, you know, I expect they probably will at some point between now and Diablo 4, to be honest. But if it did do that, I would totally be down for playing that and seeing what it was like back in the day. But yeah, Diablo 4 looks amazing, the lore and the world look super dark, which I'm into. That fucking trailer though, Jesus Christ. It's funny because before BlizzCon happened, someone posted a message on the show floor which basically said some of the, I forget what it said, but basically some of the upcoming show will not be suitable for children to watch. If you would like to watch it without the unsuitable content, then go to this particular hall. I'm just wondering, how the fuck did they censor that trailer? Did they just cut it off halfway through? Because the screen is mostly blood at some points. It is, I'm sorry, but it is mostly blood. But oh, it looks so fucking good. The druid, the animations where like he starts to swing and he turns into a bear mid-swing because it's like a bear attack, that's so fucking cool, dude. And the sound design also really stood out to me in the gameplay they showed. Like, killing people sounds like really meaty, and it makes it seem really satisfying and all of this stuff, so that's cool. Really fucking looking forward to it, to be honest. But they didn't really announce a release date for anything at BlizzCon. Like, the WoW expansion is by the end of 2020, but that's just because the pre-purchase is available and they legally have to say. They didn't actually say it anywhere on the show. Anywhere in BlizzCon. But yeah, that looks really fucking cool. There's going to be 5 playable classes they have announced for Diablo 4, and back on that. They announced the Sorceress, the Druid, and the Barbarian. So I'm going to hazard a guess and say that the other 2 are probably the Demon Hunter or some other kind of ranged class, and a Necromancer. Because I feel like that kind of, that, like, you know what I mean, like, the Barbarian, you don't necessarily need a Crusader when there's a Barbarian. It feels the same kind of melee fantasy, and you don't necessarily need a Witch Doctor when you've got like a Druid and a Sorcerer and all of that. So, I don't know. Also, you can customize your characters, which is pretty cool. The world looks amazing. They're actually making it like one big world instead of just like lots of disconnected locations, and like because of that, like they're trying to give the world like an actual kind of like make it a character for the first time, and I can kind of see that in like what they've shown so far. They've shown 5 kind of like major areas which are going to be in the game, and they all kind of have like you've got your kind of like grasslands one, your snowy one, your desert one, all the kind of stuff you'd expect, but it's all like really kind of unique. Like for instance, there's one by the sea, and like you've got the the like undead that come from the sea, which are new to Diablo lore, which is cool. And the snowy peaks area, it's like basically the lore is if you're left outside your house when night falls, you're basically gonna get carried off by demons and that kind of shit. It's so fucking cool. So yeah, Diablo 4 looks cool. You know what else looks cool? World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Fuck me. If they deliver on all of their promises, I think this could be another really good expansion like Legion. Where do I start? Okay, so Shadowlands fucking... The only thing I think I don't like about Shadowlands is that Sylvanas is still being, ooh, I'm Sylvanas and I've got big plans, and ooh, am I an antagonist? And it's like, yeah, yes, you're an antagonist. It's quite obvious by this point. I don't particularly like Sylvanas' writing. I don't think anyone does by this point. But you know, maybe they'll fix it. But I don't know, like, some of the things, I think it was the lead narrative guy, some of the things he was saying about her motives and stuff seemed so out of line with how she's actually behaved. Like, in previous expansions, it kind of, I don't know, I didn't, like, he could have just misspoken and stuff, but I didn't have the greatest of confidence in him, basically. But anyway, other than that, Shadowlands looks fucking amazing. The reason I didn't like well, not the reason, but one of the reasons why I didn't like Battle for Azeroth so much was because of the setting, and I know that sounds dumb because there are so many more important things to focus on, like the Heart of Azeroth and the storyline and all that stuff, but the setting was so, like, mundane and down to earth. Like, don't get me wrong, the zones look beautiful, Stormsong Valley looks beautiful and all of that, but the zones in Battle for Azeroth are, like, really, what's the word, like, grounded in like reality and stuff. And my favourite places in World of Warcraft have always been Outland and Draenor, and I like the Legion stuff, but my favourite place in I guess I didn't really like Argus a huge amount. It was very samey, but like fucking Nazjatar is my favourite place in BFA because it's more fantasy, you know? Like, I like fantasy in my World of Warcraft. Wow, look at me with that power ammo. Whoops, I gazed at the screen. I shouldn't be doing that when I'm trying to ramble. I like my fantasy in World of Warcraft. So now we're going to the Afterlife, and you've got a very Greek-influenced one, a very Gothic vampire castle-influenced one. You've got basically Naxxramas the Zone, which looks fucking cool. And then my personal favourite, because of course it is, an enchanted forest, which is super fucking purple, and it's meant to represent like dusk and winter, as opposed to the emerald dreams like spring and summer. So that's the covenant my druid is choosing. And covenants, by the way, 4 factions. You can choose one of them per character, and that stuff looks really cool as well. I like, they're getting rid of artifact power, which, whew, thank you. But also one of the most exciting things is, for me, is how they're making this an alt-friendly expansion. So basically, firstly they're revamping the leveling experience so that it's 70% faster. They're doing level squish, so you do 1 to 50, and then the expansion's 50 to 60. But also, like, you basically pick an expansion to quest through, and level 10 to level 50 you quest through the entire expansion, and it's supposed to be paced so that you can basically finish every zone in the expansion, which sounds fucking amazing. And I feel like one of the things I, in World of Warcraft, do the most is, or like enjoy doing the most, is making new characters and leveling them up and thinking of stories for them and getting transmogs for them and that kind of thing. So I'm extremely excited about that, and I've already been thinking about which particular covenants my characters would be choosing. Like, obviously my druid's going to be going with the fucking Ardenweald one, that's the Enchanted Forest, but like, I think my Demon Hunter Horde character would probably go for the Naxxramas one, because it's all about like strength, I don't know, I need to give that some more thought. But yeah, I could ramble on about this forever, but one last thing I wanted to say about it. I've forgotten, hang on. I don't remember what I was going to say, but what I will say is that the new customization stuff for existing races looks cool as heck. Overwatch 2, probably my least exciting thing from that thing, and if you're wondering why we're skipping Hearthstone, it's because I don't play Hearthstone. Overwatch 2 is just, I don't know, man, like, I know it's a sequel, but the fact that it's bringing everything from Overwatch 1 shouldn't be a bad thing, but for some reason it's changed my perception of Overwatch 2 from being like, I can't shake the idea that instead of being a sequel, it's more like, it's like they've just made a big event. Like, the campaign's going to be, what, 6 to 8 missions long, maybe? And then you've got replayable story missions set in the multiplayer maps, which is okay. I mean, like, I'm not gonna hate on replayable story missions because, you know, like I said, I like Diablo and I like World of Warcraft and stuff, and those already have elements of that in it. And I'm playing Destiny right now, which is like built on that shit. But I don't know, for some reason I feel like that in Overwatch's world seems... I mean, I have to see more before I can really... I haven't watched a lot of the panels yet, but I need to see more before I can really make a decision on it, but it's just not really got me very hyped. But then I'm kind of burnt out on Overwatch in general, as you'll have noticed by the lack of Overwatch in the weekly deathmatch lately. And I don't know, the fact that they're making it so that Overwatch 1 gets all of the multiplayer content that Overwatch 2 gets, it kind of makes me feel like, well, so I'm just buying Overwatch 2 for the story missions. And while the story of Overwatch is great, I would prefer it delivered to me in kind of an animated series format, as opposed to like, here's 8 missions to run, and replayable story missions, £50 please. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll get more excited to it closer to the time, but so far everything I've seen is like... And they've said that they've overhauled the look of some like all the characters, and some of them I can kind of see it, but a lot of them I'm like, well, they look a little bit different. And they're like, oh, we've changed the way we're doing eyes, and I actually prefer Overwatch 1's way of doing eyes. I don't know. Like, it looked more Disney, but that was good, in my opinion. Now they're just kind of like, I don't really know how to explain it. They're kind of like bigger and shinier, and it just doesn't look right. Like, every time I look at Lucio in Overwatch 2, it doesn't look like an upgrade to me. It looks like a different take. But I don't know. Like I said, maybe when I see more of a gameplay, when I'm less burnt out on Overwatch, maybe I'll be like, oh fuck yeah, I'm starting to look forward to Overwatch 2. But yeah, BlizzCon, I think one of the best BlizzCons in years. Shame it was overshadowed by all of the shitty stuff they did previously, and it certainly obviously can't, you know, forgive that. These are two separate things. You can be excited about the games and annoyed at Blizzard at the same time. That's just my take on it though. But yeah, it was so good. I wish every BlizzCon could be like that. Like, last year's BlizzCon was just such a letdown. It wouldn't have been so bad if it was on an expansion year for World of Warcraft, I think, but it wasn't, so instead it's just like, hey, here's the next World of Warcraft patch, which we would normally have been telling you about anyway in just a separate stream, and here's Diablo Immortal, which funnily enough didn't get, like, hardly any time. And you know what, hot take, I would have a look at it if it was released on PC. Boom. Overwatch 2